Most people in the UK think we had that big energy crisis already, surely this winter can't be that bad. But right now as you're watching this, winter has already turned up early with Arctic air, snow, ice and thunder snow, shutting schools, cutting power to homes and dropping temperatures below -6 degrees in some parts of Scotland and even Oxfordshire. And that's just November. What's really worrying isn't just the weather, it's the combination of a more volatile atmosphere that can flip from mild to brutal cold in days, an energy system that's fine on paper but still fragile at street level, and millions of cold, damp British homes where thousands of people still die each winter simply because they can't keep warm. So in this video I'm going to show you why this UK winter could be one of the most dangerous in years for normal people, even without some Hollywood level beast from the east, and exactly what you need to do this week so your house doesn't turn into a freezer when the lights go out. If you're new here, I'm Charlie and this is Charlie Survival. I make UK specific survival and preparedness videos for people who live in real houses with real bills in real British weather. Before we get into it, hit subscribe if you don't want to be the one shivering in the dark when your street loses power, and drop me a comment now so I can see who's actually feeling this. Where in the UK are you watching from, and what's the coldest temperature you've seen so far this autumn or winter? Alright, let's start with what's actually happening above our heads. What the atmosphere is lining up for the UK. The Met Office has already said that winter has arrived early across the UK, with cold Arctic air driving a complex mix of weather hazards: snow, ice, strong winds and heavy rain. On top of that, we've just seen a proper Arctic snap with thunder snow in Scotland, temperatures down to around -6.6 degrees in some places, hundreds of schools closed in Scotland and Wales, and power cuts in parts of the UK. Forecasts going into December keep mentioning the same pattern: unsettled repeated Atlantic systems with cold Arctic air dropping in at times, bringing short but intense cold spells and hill snow, especially in the north. And this is the key bit for you. On seasonal averages, the winter might end up looking near normal on the graph, but inside that average you can still get a week of savage, dangerous cold like we saw with the beast from the east in 2018 and more recent cold snaps. You don't need 3 months of Siberia, you just need a badly timed Atlantic blast plus a power cut in your area, and suddenly your life gets very real very fast. Grid is fine, doesn't mean your street is fine. You might have seen the reassuring headlines recently: Britain's winter blackout risk the lowest in 6 years. The new National Energy System Operator Winter Outlook says we've got a 10% safety margin between electricity supply and peak demand this winter, the strongest since before the pandemic. That's good news. It means they're not expecting planned national rolling blackouts, but there are 3 problems that don't make it into the sound bites. Lower risk is not no risk. NESO themselves still talk about potential tight days if we get cold weather, low winds and outages at the same time. Your local network is still fragile. Remember Storm Arwen in November 2021? Just over 1 million customers lost power. Some people were off for up to 13 days in freezing conditions. Storms are not going away. We're still seeing powerful windstorms ripping through the UK most winters, taking down trees and overhead cables. When that happens, NESO's nice 10% margin doesn't help the farmhouse in Cumbria or the cul-de-sac in Northumberland that's physically cut off from the grid. So yes, from a national do the lights go out for everyone point of view, we're in a better place. From a does my house lose power for 24 to 72 hours in a blizzard point of view, we're still very much on our own. If you want to get yourself or someone in your family more prepared this Christmas, head over to the Charlie Survival Amazon kit list. You can find UK specific survival gear that helps any household. No nonsense, just proper kit. Click the link in the description after this video to get prepared this winter. The real killer: cold, damp British homes. Here's where it gets properly uncomfortable. The UK already has a deadly winter problem before you add extreme weather or blackouts. The End Fuel Poverty Coalition estimates 4,950 excess winter deaths in winter 2022 to 23 were caused by people living in cold homes. National Energy Action calculated around 4,020 deaths in England and Wales the winter before, 45 people per day dying because their homes were too cold. Other analysts pit the figure around 5,000 deaths a year linked to Britain's cold, poorly insulated housing. That's not theoretical future climate doom, that's now. On top of that, in England alone, 3.17 million households above 13% were in fuel poverty in 2023. And although wholesale energy prices have come down from the absolute peak, bills are still far higher than they were a few years ago, with average households paying around £1,700 a year for typical use. So put that all together, you don't need the coldest winter on record, you just need another winter where people are afraid to turn the heating on, plus a few nasty cold snaps, and you get 1,000 more silent, avoidable deaths. That's why I'm making this video, not because we're guaranteed some apocalyptic events, but because the average British winter is already brutal for a lot of people, and we're adding extra pressure on top of it. 48 hours in a British winter blackout. Let's make it real. Imagine late January, you've already had one snow event earlier in the season. This new system comes in, Met Office yellow or amber warning for snow and 70 to 75 miles per hour wind in the north. You go to bed with the boiler set low, trying not to touch your gas bill. At 2 AM, a tree comes down on the hill somewhere up the valley. Power's gone. Suddenly you've got no central heating, your gas boiler needs electricity, no lights, no Wi-Fi, maybe weakened mobile signal. Outside it's below zero, with wind chill making it feel even worse. After 12 hours, your house is cooling steadily. The warmest room is maybe 10 to 12 degrees. Your phone's down to 30% battery after 24 to 48 hours. You can see your breath indoors. Condensation is turning to damp patches on cold walls. If you've got kids, elderly relatives, asthma, heart issues, their risk is climbing fast. This isn't fantasy, it's exactly what thousands of people went through in Oran, some for up to 13 days. The only real question is, if that happens on your street tomorrow, are you ready or are you winging it? What you should do now, not when the warning hits. Let's get practical and ruthless. You don't need perfection, you need a realistic 48-hour plan. A. Heat the human, not the whole house. It's expensive to keep the whole house at 21 degrees all winter. You don't need to. Choose a warm zone room now. Smallest room you can all fit in, ideally fewer external walls. Upstairs if you're in a drafty house, or small room in a bungalow. Pre-position thick curtains or blankets for doors and windows, draft excluders or rolled towels for gaps. Sort your clothing system, base layer, thermals or just tight long sleeves or leggings. Mid layer, fleece or wool jumper. Outer, hoodie or light jacket. Thick socks, slippers, hat indoors. You lose a lot of heat from your head and neck, and especially through your feet on a cold floor through conduction. Low-tech heat. Hot water bottles and 1 or 2 decent flasks. Pre-boil a kettle when the power is on and keep that heat in the flask. If you have a safe service wood burner, brilliant. If not, do not improvise heating with barbecues or camping stoves indoors. The risk of carbon monoxide is not worth it. B. Protect the home itself. Your house can take a beating from cold too. Pipes and water. Find your main stopcock today, open it, close it, make sure it works. In a long outage with deep cold, turning it off and draining upstairs taps can save you a burst pipe nightmare later. Light and power. At least one decent torch or headlamp per household, plus spare batteries. 1 or 2 power banks fully charged that you don't use day to day. Label them for emergencies. If your budget allows, a small power station can keep phones, a router and a light running, but don't feel like you failed if you can't afford that. Torches and layers come first. Food that works in the cold. Stock a small stash of food that you can eat without cooking if you had to, you actually like, not just random tins. Think tins of soup, beans, tuna, fruit, oats, cereal, UHT or oat milk, some chocolate or high-calorie snacks for morale. C. Neighbours, asset and liability. The Texas blackout stories were full of neighbours keeping each other alive, sharing wood, blankets, hot food. But neighbours can also be your biggest problem if they're desperate and they know you're the only one with supplies. Here's how I'd handle it in the UK. Plant the seed now. Next time you see them, casually say, they're already talking about an early winter and more storms again. If the power went off here for 2 days in a snowstorm, what would you do? You're not announcing you're some kind of survivalist or prepper, you're just nudging them to think. Quiet little network. 1 or 2 people you actually trust, maybe the older couple next door, a mate down the road or family. Agree informally. If it all goes off, we check on each other and we've got one place we can all keep warm. Stay low key. Don't show off stacks of logs, gas bottles or years worth of tins. Curtains closed at night, no big generators roaring away and lighting up the whole street while everyone else is dark. Help where you can, but don't become the obvious supply depot for the entire estate. If this video helped you, hit like so more people in the UK see it before the next Arctic blast. Make sure you're subscribed because I'm going to be releasing more UK specific winter prep videos, including car survival checklists and cheap ways to cook food in blackouts. And if you want to start taking preparedness seriously, head over to the Charlie Survival Amazon kit list. You can find UK specific survival items from car kit to bug out gear. Click the Amazon link in the description to check it out. But everything we talked about here, weather, grid, cold homes, is useless if you don't have basic food supplies. So the next video you should watch is this one on screen, all about how to build a food stockpile in the UK for under £30. Click it and I'll see you over there.